Hello and welcome to the third installment of how to create a video wall, and in addition how to use that video wall to create a video room. In the previous two tutorials I've shown you how to use Pictures.exe to, from scratch actually, go in and create a grid work, a matrix of, in this case, 6 by 6, using the grid tool in PTE, and populate that with small videos. And then in turn create an MP4 out of those small videos that populate the entire screen, and then how to go and use the features of PTE ability to use rectangles and adjust independently their X and Y axis so that we can make them use as dividers or grid work to divide these little tiny screens, and indeed then save as an MP4 H.264 and have a video wall. Now what we're going to do is take the video wall that you've created and make a video room. And the way we're going to do this is to first go in and make sure that we're set up using your video wall MP4. So I've created one to use as a demo using exactly the same features that I taught you to use. And so the first thing we're going to do is load this, and then we're going to customize slide, make sure we have about a minute on it, and then we're going to objects and animations. And because this starts with a black screen, I'm going to put 2 seconds in here so you can actually see it. And now this is filling the 16:9 aspect ratio of the entire screen. And what we really want to do is we want to use this as our back wall. So we want to change that a bit. So let's resize this. And then let's spread it out just a little. Let's go over here to the Animations tab, making sure that this small icon between the zoom factors is like a button, and then we can actually spread this out just a little for the back of our wall. And once we have it looking about like we want the back of the wall to look and position, we don't want to fill the entire screen because we're going to have a roof and 2 sides. So let's cut this, which will put it on the clipboard, and then let's right click and add a frame. And the purpose of this is to then right click and paste, and that's added this back wall to the controlling frame. Now we're going to use the identical back wall by copy, and then we're going to click on the frame and we're going to press Control V, and we're going to keep doing that until we have both sides, the floor and the ceiling, to go along with the back. So now we have a total of 5 identical video walls, all populated with videos. So now what we want to do is we want to move these. They're all 5 lying on top of one another, so we want to click on them and move them and place them in conjunction with the original on all 4 corners. And if we look over here, we see the pan is 0, which means it's placed just about perfectly. And let's do this again down here and check the pan value. We want it to be a 0 again. It is. And then over here, place another one, and we want the value to be 0. If it isn't, you can just manually put in 0. There we have minus 0. 0.0, that's fine. Okay, now we have correctly lined them up, and the next thing we want to do, we're going to pivot these right at these axes where they join one another. In order to do that, we need to change the center of rotation. So let's click on one and then hold the Shift key down on the keyboard before you click on this little center 0, and pull that little center 0 right down and drop it right in the center of the little square. That will be the new pivot point. And let's check in the Animations tab and see the center is minus 0.46. It actually should be 0.00, so let's change that. And that puts it directly in the center. Okay, and let's do this for all four. So hold the shift key, drag and drop, and then check the animation value. And the center should be, in this case, 0 over here rather than a minus value. And this should be 0 up here. We'll make sure we didn't move anything. Okay, 0, 0. Everything looks good there. Let's do it over here. See, I moved the whole thing, so we've got to realign it. So we'll go back here, make sure this is 0. And hold the shift key down, and let's drag and drop that center. That's pretty close, not quite exact, so we'll go back and change that to 0. And then we'll go down and change this on the center to 0, because we know that's exactly where we want it. And finally, we'll do that on the bottom one. And let's see, we're pretty close. The center should be, this should be 0 as well. Okay, everything looks good. So the next thing let's do is let's click on, well, let's leave the one we already have selected here, and then let's go to the 3D parameters. And what we want to do is we want to adjust this so it pivots up for the floor. And that would be that we want to rotate it on the x-axis in the positive direction. And I found out that a rotate value of somewhere around 85 works out pretty well. I'm just going to rotate to 85, and then let's rotate the ceiling down 85. Okay, now let's take a wall over here, and I found out that 90 works pretty good to rotate this on the y-axis. I believe maybe it was 95. I think it's 95. Yeah, 95. That looks close. And then we'll rotate this one in on the y-axis to 95. And this is just getting them in the ballpark. We can fine-tune it once we get them rotated very close to their values. 95. Okay, now let's make this a little larger so we can see it better. And let's move over and select one of them. There we go. That's not too far off. So what we can do, I think, is to bring this ceiling down just a little bit. There we go. That looks good on that side. And let's look at it over here. It looks perfect over there. And let's bring the floor up just a little bit. Looks pretty good. Okay, the next thing to do is go back out for a larger view so we can see the whole screen. And now we're going to do something. We're going to extend the ceiling and extend the floor and then push back the walls a little bit. And to do that, we're going to click on it. We're going to hold the shift key down. This is very important. Don't move it without holding the shift key down. Hold the shift key down, and then we're going to drag this upward. And you can see we're dragging it out like so. And then we're going to do the same on the bottom. We're holding the shift key down, and we're going to drag that floor out. Okay. Then we'll hold the shift key down. We're going to push the wall in, so it lines up pretty much on the corners here. It doesn't have to go all the way, because you're only going to see what's on your screen. If you want, you can push it all the way. You can push it right up to the edge like this, and you can bring the ceiling and everything right back in, and then make the whole thing larger if you want to do that. This part right here is more art than it is science. I'm sure there is an exact science to it, but we don't know exactly. Now I can see that the floor needs to come up just a tiny bit, so I'm going to go back and go just a little further up, maybe one. There we go. Everything lines up good. So if we go to the frame and size the frame now, see, we can move the whole thing around and get it to fill the screen perfectly. And there we have it. So let's go and see what that looks like in the let's make it just a little larger. There we go. Let's do a preview. And the way that you can do that, you can go in and click on the wall if you want to do this, and then go to the 3D parameters, and you can go and change the pan Z value. See, that's bringing everything forward and taking everything back. So if you took the pan Z value way back, like so, and then you brought everything else forward, holding the shift key down each time, of course, you could make the room look much deeper. But this is essentially how we make our video room out of what we've already got. And let's preview that again, and the room will look a little deeper this time. To this, and I'll do one more tutorial which will help you understand how to take the videos out with the white in the background and create the grid work as a PNG file, and I'll show you how to do that shortly.